My 24F boyfriend, 26M, of 5 years cheated on me last night but said he was YOLOing because he has a terminal illness and I have no idea what to do. I am absolutely heartbroken. Hair/relationships. I'm so upset that I don't know what to do, and a friend told me that she couldn't really help with my situation because it's a complicated one, so she sent me here in hopes that someone could give me any advice. I'm sorry this is long, I'm trying to process it and typing this has helped. John and I actually went to the same high school growing up, but he was a grade above me so we never really interacted. When I got to college, we had a class together and instantly hit it off. It was great. We started dating my freshman year, his sophomore year, and have been together ever since, and it has been amazing. We were each other's first loves, and while he wasn't my first time, I was his, which never seemed like a big deal before. He is the most wonderful, I don't even know anymore, person I'd ever met, and I truly thought we would spend the rest of our lives together. In the beginning of April, he was diagnosed with terminal pancreatic cancer and told he didn't have much longer to live. He refused treatment, saying he didn't want to wither away like that. And while I had really wanted him to try this route, I supported him because I love him and wanted him to come to the end of his life on his terms, if that was even possible at this point. John immediately became a new person after his diagnosis, and it was not for the better. He just got so sad, and would get into these fits of anger. I had never seen him like this before and it was frightening. He's also lost a small amount of weight, but aside for this the cancer has not gotten incredibly bad, at least, from what I can see externally, but it has only been a few weeks. I know he's sick, so I've been doing everything possible to make our last few months together the best. I am completely devoted to him now and love spending time with him and always do what he wants to do. Last night, he wanted to go out drinking with some friends. This was the first time I ever said no to him. I had gotten home from work and his friend Alan was sitting in the driveway. I walked up to his car and asked how he was and also what he was doing. John hasn't told any of his friends about the cancer, and Alan said he was waiting for John because they were going out to a bar and he thought John had told me. I went inside and told John no for the first time since his diagnosis. John flew into one of his outbursts, called me some terrible names, and then stormed out the door. I called and texted him but he turned off his phone, so I spent most of the night crying. He didn't come home. This morning, a cab pulls up outside and drops him off. He walks in completely disheveled and looking like complete poop, to be honest. After the night he had put me through, I snapped. I screamed at him and cried and asked how he could put me through that. He just sort of ignored me and walked into the bedroom and began changing clothes. I was obviously not done with the fight, so I came in the room and kept yelling when I noticed that he smelled like booze obviously, but also a little bit like perfume, and his shirt had what looked like mascara and eyeshadow on it. Then, when he changed boxers, I noticed the ones he had changed out of had been cummed in. He hadn't had any libido since the diagnosis, so I asked him if he had been with any girls last night. At first he got really defensive, but I kept yelling and crying and finally he admitted that he had seen an old flame from high school at the bar. We live in a small town, who he had always wanted to duck but never got the chance to, when they were dating. Apparently they got silly together and made out at the bar and then walked back to her place where she planned to give him a mouth romance, but he came at the idea when she was straddling him on her bed. I feel like I'm going to be sick. They then made out and did other things all night before falling asleep. He woke up in the morning and took a cab home. I was horrified and felt absolutely crushed. I asked him why he would do something like this, and he snapped, "It's not ducking fair. You got laid in high school a bunch." Note, I had romance with 2 guys before John, and I never got to experience anything other than you. It's like YOLO, or whatever the duck that saying is. I don't ducking care. I have ducking cancer and I'm going to die. Guess what? You only live once, right? I might as well do whatever the duck I want while I'm still alive. Or something to that effect. I was in shock and had absolutely nothing to say. I immediately stormed out and went to a friend's house. The one who suggested I post on Reddit. I'm using her computer and have not spoken to John since. It's been a few hours. I just don't know what to do. If it were different circumstances, I would absolutely break up with him. But he's got terminal cancer, and I know it has changed him as a person, and I want to be there for him. This isn't the John that I've always known and loved. This is a cancer-morphed monster, but I feel like I need to be there for him in his last few months, but I just don't know how I even can anymore. I've just spent all day crying and confused and feeling absolutely destroyed. My heart is shattered in a million pieces. Too long, didn't read boyfriend and I have been dating since the beginning of college. I was his first time, he wasn't mine, but we were each other's first loves. He was diagnosed with terminal cancer earlier this month and it has changed him. Last night he went out and hooked up with an old girlfriend, claiming that he was only going to live once and he was going to do what he wanted, justifying it with my experiences from before we were dating, and I am completely destroyed. Edit: a lot of people are commenting saying I was wrong for telling him he couldn't hang out with his friends, which is not what happened and I wanted to clarify. I went inside and told him that I didn't think drinking was the best idea because neither of us knew how it could affect his condition and that perhaps they should just go bowling instead, one of their usual hobbies. He has seen his friends as much as usual since the diagnosis, 1 to 2 times a week, just hanging out playing video games or going bowling. The last thing I would have wanted is for him to go out drinking with his friends, who don't know he has cancer, and have something go wrong because that would put his friends in a really terrible spot.
Hey guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. It would really help me out, thanks.
He's right. You only live once, but that applies to both of you. If he wants to use his last few months on Earth to be a jerk, more power to him, but that doesn't mean you have to stick around and cater to his whims and poopy behavior. Maybe I'm heartless but I'd dump him. He sounds like a disrespectful butthole. Sorry. I agree, let him do whatever he wants, but without you. My boyfriend has cancer. It's not terminal in the same sense that pancreatic cancer is, but it is a very, very rare form that mutated, causing some unusual and life-threatening complications. Speaking as someone who has been down a bumpy, poopy cancer road, I think that you should end the relationship. His life is going to go down the crapper, and he will take you along with him. You can still be his friend, if he wants you to be, and you can still support him, but you are not his yolo-ing punching bag. You are not required to ride some sort of noble chariot and support somebody who will throw you away to do what he wants. Cancer is not a get-out-of-jail-free card for what would normally be considered harmful or morally corrupt behavior. Another thought, you will need support, too, and support for the girlfriend or spouse of a cancer patient is generally kind of poopy, especially for young people. Now add that on top of support for being cheated on and treated poorly. This is not something that is worth volunteering for the additional strain. Edit: I explained your situation to my cancer patient boyfriend. He raised one eyebrow and said, It's one thing to be grumpy because you feel like crap from treatment, but you don't cheat on someone because, whiny child voice, I have can't answer. She's dumping him, right? Me, 24F, with my BF 26M, 3 years, just got screenshots sent from a number I don't recognize indicating that my BF is cheating. I'm an absolute mess right now and don't know what to do. I went to get coffee at work and my phone vibrated. I checked my phone and I had received a series of texts from a number I don't recognize. The texts contained screenshots of a conversation between the sender and my boyfriend. I know because I instantly recognized my boyfriend's phone number. In the screenshots, my BF is apparently making plans for a date. Example, unknown sender, okay, what time? BF, how about 8? I know this great little place we can get cocktails. Unknown sender, 8 works. What's the dress code? BF, haha, it's casual but I'm sure you'll look great in anything. So I read these and my heart immediately sank. 5 minutes later, I got more screenshots, this time of a Tinder conversation between my BF and some girl named Clara. It seemed like their texting conversation was a carryover from the initial Tinder convo. I didn't even know my BF was on Tinder, and I have no idea who Clara is. I responded to the texts, saying who is this? But got no response. That was an hour ago, and since then I've been sitting at my desk at work trying not to cry. My BF and I have been together for 3 years with no serious problems. I trusted him completely and feel like an absolute fool. I also don't understand why I am getting these messages. In a way I appreciate them, because if my BF is a cheating jackass I want to know it even if it destroys everything. But I don't know who Clara is or if she is the one sending me these texts. I'm especially heartbroken. BC the place BF is planning to take this girl is a fancy bar where we just went last week to celebrate a work promotion that I worked my butt off for. I thought that was special and now I'm absolutely lost. I've tried to Google the number I'm receiving texts from but it's shown nothing helpful. I even called it and it rang out. The area code is a city about an hour from where we live. What should I do? I obviously don't want to mention anything to my BF because I don't want him to be able to cover his tracks. I need to stay ahead of this. Please advise, please. Too long, didn't read. I just got a bunch of texts from a random number indicating that BF is planning to cheat. What can I do? Edit, my friend came over after work and helped me set up a Tinder account. Apparently you can't search for someone specifically, but you can narrow the location and age ranges of people you're interested in to get more specific. After half an hour of swiping, we found BF on Tinder. Some of his pics are ones I took. I feel sick, like someone scraped all my insides out and then made me eat them. Sorry for that imagery. We'll post an update tomorrow, but right now things are looking pretty bad. Thanks for all the support. IDKY people are suggesting that you show up at that time and place. From my perspective, this girl realized he had a girlfriend, and is sending you everything. I doubt she's going to show up to the date he's asking about. When you see him, just tell him you have to see his phone. Don't give him a warning to hide stuff. His phone will have the Tinder app and evidence. People make this crap so complicated. It's not like he installs and uninstalls the app every time he wants to get on it. Good point, thanks. This is tricky because you don't know for sure if these are faked by someone who might have a problem with either you or your so, or someone you know trying to let you know that he's cheating. Flat out calling him out is a bad idea, I think. Do these texts say which day this supposed date is supposed to go down? If so, see your boyfriend tonight and say we should do something fun soon. Let's go out on night mentioned in messages. I wouldn't do this over text, I would do it in person to see his reaction. If he says can't, other plans, etc., then be straight and tell him about the messages you received. Or skip the first part and just mention that you got these messages. Either way I would ask him what's going on. The texts say they're supposed to meet tomorrow. I'll try making plans for tomorrow evening casually. I honestly don't want to just straight up ask him about the texts because I don't want him to be able to create a lie or something.